in the early 2000s, the railroads started to take some market share. And I remember this big argument about, we're trucking, we're not a railroad. And there was this sort of like friction between the trucking companies and the railroads. And then you had air freight and you had all these, everybody was very modality specific.
Yeah.
Whereas in the last 20 years, what's actually happened is this emergence of just what is the best modality to move the freight from point A to point B. And what you're saying is very similar to that, which is at the end of the day, whether it's solar, wind, oil, nat gas, nuclear, geothermal, or some new technology that we haven't discovered yet, it doesn't matter. It's the ability to produce energy and to own our energy destiny is really what really matters.
I love the analogy that you brought up about shipping logistics. I wasn't aware of that, and it does remind me of the oil and gas industry where, you had oil and gas companies that are pure play oil and gas. This is what we do. But then you have the bigger companies like the Chevrons and the BPs of the world. And I've always laughed and said that, there's no one more capitalistic than the oil and gas industry. If there's a way to make money on an energy asset, these companies will do it. And so I have a big belief that if you look at any of these growing energy verticals, whether it's wind, solar, geothermal, lithium mining, things of this nature, it's all dependent on expertise and resources from the oil and gas industry. And so, I'll give you a couple examples. The leading geothermal company in the world right now is Fervo Energy. And Fervo is, they call it advanced geothermal. The CEO of Fervo, his name's Tim. And Tim is a oil and gas completions engineer, and looked at the technology that we used to drill horizontal oil and gas wells and went and applied that to the geothermal industry. And what they're doing with these geothermal plants is drilling these geothermal wells and then co-locating with manufacturing facilities to sell electricity to them through a power purchase agreement. And so I think that that's what's interesting to me is energy is energy. Doesn't matter if it's oil and gas, solar, wind. And the thing about energy is it's very geographically dependent. You're not going to have hydro out in West Texas in the desert, but up in Canada, you can run the majority of your electricity off of hydro because of the resources that you have available. And so that's a big component to this is you work with the resources that you have in your area.